So Uranus started to move forward the other day. And why that's a big deal is because Uranus has been in Taurus. Uranus, the planet of innovation, of the future, of shock, of disruption, of change, of transformation, is in Taurus. And Taurus is about the earth and about sensuality and the senses. It's about taking things slowly. Taurus is not about change, and Taurus is not about the future. Taurus is about enjoying here and now. Taurus is about being embodied. It's about conserving one's energy. It's conservative views, and probably one of the most traditional of all of the signs. Taurus is a fixed sign. All of the fixed signs are hard to move, hard to change, hard to adapt. Even though many of them benefit from change, right? All of the fixed signs, all of us in life benefit from changing. But fixed energy is hard to change once it makes up its mind. So Uranus, the planet of shock and change and awakenings, inside the sign of Taurus, conservative, day-to-day, traditional, really started to stir a lot of people who have significant Taurian energy, right? It would only make sense. So whether they were Tauruses or Taurus rising or Taurus moon or a stellium in Taurus or just a perspective, maybe it's just having more of a Taurus consciousness for whatever reason. So there was a lot of backlash, right, to so many of the things that we thought we were moving forward with. If you're like me, I thought the world was heading in a particular direction, and then all of a sudden it felt like it was making a complete halt and going backwards. There is tremendous tension around even trying to look forward or understanding what the future might hold because there's been so much strife and conflict. It's been hard to even share visions with other people, even though that is happening. Pluto moved into Aquarius, and the violence that the authority and the authoritarian rule now present in our United States is focusing its attention against the people, right? We've never encountered that, or maybe not in our lifetimes. Clearly, we have to weather through it because there's something else waiting for us on the other side. With that said, Uranus, the ruling planet of Aquarius, the sign of the future and innovation and equality. It's a sign of humanity and having a shared vision inside of community. And the energy of Aquarius is on the rise as this reaction to what's happening politically, what's happening with our government. And the people are connecting. The people are rising. They're speaking up. They're loving each other. They're peacefully protesting in creative ways. Now that Uranus is finally moving forward, it could be that all of the places that we've been stuck in, because we all have Aquarius in our charts, we all have Uranus in our charts. The parts of our lives that we've been stuck in and the part of the collective that has been feeling stuck. The United States' moon is in Aquarius. So Uranus in Taurus was also squaring the moon of the United States since 2016, energetically by house, and clearly over the last few years, closer to degree. Just an interesting thing to consider. And moving forward, Uranus is also known as the flipper of the scripter. So it flips the script on stories. All of a sudden you thought it was like this, but then this quickening happens like the tower, and the storyline changes. And we're entering a time of quickenings. Not only has Uranus started to move forward, it'll be moving forward into Gemini. Gemini is about being nimble, being fast. It's the hummingbird energy of more and more ideas, more and more words, conversations, new ways to think, ideating, synthesizing, processing information in new ways. Uranus is probably going to be really, really happy with that, especially after doing deeper type of work. I think Uranus is going to feel freer, right? It's going to have more of that freeing energy. But before that happens, many of you are probably hearing that there's a huge conjunction coming up with Neptune at 0 degrees and Saturn meeting Neptune at 0 degrees. And so Neptune is the dream. It's the greater intuitive consciousness. It's the divine connection. It's our imagination. It's creativity. It's music. It's prayer. It's devotion. And it's understanding that we are all connected. There's also a tremendous amount of compassion or understanding the feeling energy that connect us, moving out of Pisces into Aries. There's a lot more action, more fiery creativity and passion in its expression, but more so than that, Aries is about clarity. When Neptune was in the final degrees of Pisces, it was operating with the, let's say, the dregs down at the bottom of the oil tank. All of the toxic sediment was at the bottom. There was a lot of illusion and confusion and not knowing what to trust, who to trust, why. We were feeling like the wool was pulled over our eyes and hard to find our spiritual center. But now that Neptune has moved into Aries, there's going to be a lot more clarity around our belief systems. And when it meets with Saturn, Saturn is the builder, Saturn is the architect, Saturn is the strict teacher, but Saturn is also the authority and represents authorities. When Saturn moves out of Pisces and it moves into Aries, at 0 degrees, it will be the builder and the dream, the builder being Saturn and the dream being Neptune, meeting in new beginnings. One of the beautiful things about what's happening now versus what has happened in the past is that the relationships between Neptune, Saturn, Pluto, and Uranus will be in harmonic relationships, supportive relationships, which makes it different than the other times that these signs were together or at this degree. So there's hope on the horizon and a lot of change happening soon. And what's also happening on February 17th is that we're having a new moon in Aquarius. It's not just a new moon, but because it's an eclipse, eclipses mark an ending. It's like a galactic reset near the energy of the North Node in Pisces. It will be a very forward-thinking, compassionate eclipse in Aquarius, very humanitarian, of the people, the collective, the community. And there's a quickening. It's a beautiful day to create an intention for your life, for the future, for our world. An even more special time to be aware of what's going on, be the witness, pay attention to the storylines, right, that are leading us from now through the 17th, because even past the 17th, because there are a lot of very significant changes. Uranus moving into Gemini, which will be happening at the end of April. And then this nodal axis moving from Pisces and Virgo into Aquarius and Leo will also be happening in August. So this new moon eclipse in Aquarius is actually a foreshadow to when the nodal axis will really be shifting into the sign of Aquarius in August. In Chinese astrology, 2026 is also the year of the fire horse. We'll be saying goodbye to the year of the wood snake, and we'll be saying hello to the fire horse. So there's all of this air and fire energy coming in. And so when the nodal axis shifts in August, there'll be even more air and fire energy. So the fire horse is perfectly timed with all of the major changes that are happening at this time. And the fire horse also represents liberation and freedom and movement and fast change. So we're entering a time of quickening. We're entering a time of incredible awakenings. We're entering a time where the world will feel more connected than it ever has been before. The observer effect tells us that the thoughts of the observer can change the experiment. And so as we are the observers observing this experiment called life, that we can make all the difference in the world. How are we placing our attention? Where are we placing our attention? Perception, our intention and vision. We need to be the witness, the observer of that happening so that we can be a part of shaping the future.